Hi, I'm Dave Galegas with Hallmark Home Mortgage here in Denver, Colorado. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be part of this partnership between Darren Hardy and Insane Productivity and Dave Savage and Mortgage Coach. Big fan. I started using Mortgage Coach way back in the early 2000s, which I've given Mortgage Coach credit for really teaching me, after I'd been in the business for just a couple of years, how mortgages really worked, allowing me to become a true consultant for my clients, a teacher. That would teach my clients how to save thousands of dollars on their mortgage costs. And then, I was introduced to Darren Hardy at a Todd Duncan event a few years back, and immediately read Compound Effect. I've read it like 14 times now. I attended a high performance summit. I attended a couple of high performance forums, and I've hired Darren to come out here in Denver and speak and present to real estate agents and loan officers on productivity. So it's an honor to be part of this group, and I want to talk a little bit about in Insane Productivity module number 8, which for me is the most impactful module in the whole system. Now, don't jump ahead because every module in there is fantastic, but I really enjoyed this module for a number of reasons. First, when we get into module 8, I think the most important and impactful part of that module is how Darren talked about when he was a real estate agent, what were his vital few functions? And for him, those vital fews were pitching a listing, negotiating contracts, and prospecting for new business. So what we did after we heard that is that we took that and said, okay, so what's the loan officer version of the vital few? And what we came up with was prospecting for new business, of course, presenting financing options using Mortgage Coach. And again, as far as I'm concerned, there isn't a better tool on the product. That total cost analysis, you put that in front of every one of your clients, you're setting yourself apart from all the other competition, all the noise in the mortgage business. So I think it's one of our keys to success. And then the third thing is locking in loans and getting them turned over. So our system here at Hallmark, we designed our system to do our CRM system, is to track those three things. And you see a lot of that stuff on the board behind me, but we track those three activities, and we're able to generate an actual scorecard, a stopwatch, we call it, for our loan officers. And if anybody would like to receive a copy of this, just reach out and let us know. I'll be happy to provide it. I think the next most important part of that module was the section on the daily routines, the bookends of your day. So the morning routine and the evening routines, because so much of what happens during the day is difficult to control, but it's really easy to control the first 2 or 3 hours of your morning and the last 2 or 3 hours of your day. And what I like about going through Insane Productivity more than once is, so I went back through it again this past, the beginning of this year, and I'm doing it again now, is that it makes me look at those routines, because you start to drift a little bit from what you said you were going to do, and it reminds you of why you want to focus on those things. And the idea here is to come up with ways that you can improve your individual productivity. It's the secret's in the minutes that we manage. So that's what that does. And then as an example, last year as I was going through the module, I had figured out that there was ways for me to just save an extra 15 minutes in the morning. 15 minutes, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year. This thing starts to add up pretty quick. The last part of the module that I think is the most impactful is how yes is easy, and the master skill of success is saying no. No to things that we know we don't want to say yes to, but we find ourselves saying yes. And when you do, you start to feel that stress. For loan officers, I can think of several areas where saying no would make them feel a lot better, but they end up saying yes. For example, saying yes to a realtor who wants a pre-approval letter for a client you've not collected all the documents for yet. You can't be 100% certain. Yeah, you've pulled credit maybe, you've run it through automated underwriting, but that can be garbage in and garbage back out because you haven't seen all the documentation. But you say yes to the pre-approval letter because everybody's anxious and they want to make an offer on a house. Well, what happens 2 weeks later when you get that email where the subject line says loan in suspense? I know exactly what happens because it's happened to everybody in this business, and you get completely derailed from the rest of your day, and now you're going to spend the day and maybe even a couple, 3 days in a reactive mode where you're trying to put out the fire that, quite frankly, you're the one who started that fire when you said yes. That's a really good example. Partnering with real estate agents that we'd rather not partner with, maybe that we're not our values don't align. Those are the kinds of things that when you're saying yes to them, you can feel the stress in your body. And so the master skill, one of the master skills of success is saying no. Some of the quotes in there are, Warren Buffett says no to 99 out of 100 investments. Darren's told the story several times of Richard Branson turning down $1 million in a private jet to go and have a conversation to go speak to a sales group. And I really do think that's one of the most impactful things you do. Saying yes to a pre-approval when you really didn't have all the data is a classic example for mortgage people. So there you go. Those are my three most important, the things I think are the most impactful when it comes to insane productivity. Module 8, I think you're going to find it's one of your favorites as well. Thanks for listening.